Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by UFC Hall of Famer Dan Severn. Dan, how are you?
I'm great there, Mike.
Dan, take me back to the beginning. How did you get started in mixed martial arts, which back then was called no-holds-barred fighting? How'd you get started?
I do. It's kind of a sad story how I got involved with it in the first place. I'll just say it was a unique opportunity, and it's probably the same thing that still fuels me to this day. I mean, I'll try to do it as briefly as I possibly can. I had bought and sold a home all within a 2-week margin. I was relocating, starting another career in my life, was putting my degree to work, and this was back about right around that 1992 period of time. And I went to work, and at the end of the first week, I did not have a job. And this was the last big recession that was taking place. So by day, I'm looking for a job. At night, I'm actually training for professional wrestling, because at the same time, a new ruling came down from the United States Olympic Committee that allowed athletes to be amateur and professional simultaneously, unless you were in high school or college. You'd still be ruled by High School Athletic Association rules or the NCAA rules. I was well past my collegiate eligibility, so I could have my cake and eat it too. I had to put, there was no job to be had. I was looking for any route that I could possibly put, keep the roof over my head, keep food on the table for my family and stuff like that. So I started doing professional wrestling, used my real name, used my real amateur credentials. After just a couple matches, an athlete from Tennessee said, asked me if something was legit. I said it was. He said, you ought to be over in Japan doing this thing called fighting shoe wrestling. Never heard of that. Gave him a business card and an athletic resume. 3 days later, I got a phone call. 10 days later, I'm in Nashville doing a tryout. 30 days later, I'm in Tokyo, Japan, in front of 12,000 people. Didn't have a clue as to what I was doing. All I know is my Asian opponent kicked me half a dozen times really hard. Grabbed him, going him all over the place, dismantling him in the process, much to the crowd's delight, and that was my start.
Your record, they have you at 118-7. How accurate is this?
It's probably within 20 or 30 matches.
And how did you get your nickname, The Beast?
That came from the legendary football player Jim Brown. He was, at one point in time, one of the play-by-play commentators there for the UFC within the first, probably around shows number 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that range. And he, basically, it said to me, he says, I wear glasses. He says, you kind of like a Clark Kent Superman way that you go from meek, mild manner to this dun. And he's like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I'm thinking, Jim Brown is asking me a question like that. That actually got almost kind of giddy, because I had watched him play football when I was, in high school myself, and he was one of the most punishing running backs in the history of football. And that's where my name came from. He says, in some of his closing comments, he was just saying, Dan Severn was first very technical, very clinical, was just a wrestler. Now he's striking, he's doing this, he's an animal, he's a beast. And that basically stuff.
When you started fighting, there wasn't a lot of people wearing gloves. How many fights over your career were bare knuckle, and when was your first fight wearing gloves?
Well, in the beginning for the fighting championships, as you stated, it was declared no holds barred. That there were no gloves at all. So I think there was only maybe one match where a boxer wore one boxing glove on one glove and was bare knuckled on the other glove.
Right.
And my first time really wearing gloves would have been in my rematch with Ken Shamrock in Detroit, I think, and that would have been something around that number 6 or 7 time frame. So that's where a lot of your listeners, when they're listening to this, they may not understand exactly what no holds barred is, but as you were stating before, the product that people are watching on television today, mixed martial art, has approximately 37 rules. Part of those 37 rules are there are weight classes, there are time periods, and the athletes wear gloves, and you fight one opponent in a given evening. Back in the no holds barred era, there were only 2 rules you had to abide by. Those being, do not bite your opponent, do not stick your fingers in their understand of the rules. And there were no weight classes. There were no time periods, bare knuckle action, and it was a 8-man tournament. You had to face and defeat 3 opponents in a less than 2-hour pay-per-view. So that was that they actually ended up having to change that format too, because you may end up winning the match, but you end up getting damaged in the process and were unable to continue.
Was there a time when all the new rules came in that you were like, well, maybe I don't want to do this anymore, or were you open to more rules?
Well, I mean, honestly, the hardest part was as the sport was transitioning. You got to realize, across the entire United States, even now, not all states allow mixed martial arts events to be hosted in their home state. I believe we're up into the high 30s or low 40s of the states that allow mixed martial arts. The hardest part was being in a state and getting ready to do something to your opponent and realizing, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do this, and I'd have to look up at the referee and go, hey, am I allowed to? And I'm actually, getting some rules interpretation in the middle of a match. But I've never had any fouls or like that for doing illegal techniques or anything like that. But it was, I even helped get a few changes made, like the knee to the grounded opponent. That used to be allowed at one point in time. And it's a very devastating technique, and I was one of the advocators saying that you really need to get rid of this rule, because it's such a mean and vicious thing that someone's really going to get hurt bad if not killed in the process. But at the same token, I was still one of the biggest advocators using it, going to say that while we are going to allow it, I am going to use it. I even now, as people watch modern day mixed martial arts, I do believe within the next, say, 3 to 5 year period of time, I believe they will do away with the elbow, just because it's a cutting mechanism more than it is of just winning. Most matches are just to be halted just because the guy got a cut over the eye, blood slowing down, interferes with his vision. I can see where the actual elbow will be done away with, but you can still use forearm smashes and things of that nature. Still does the same basic effect, but you're just not just cutting your opponent up in the process.
Dan, what do you remember more, the wins or the losses?
Losses.
Why?
Just basically, those are the ones that I think that most athletes have a hard time accepting, losses or failures. I know that's my own case right there. And those are the ones that etched into my memory. The victories, that are blur. I know one of the first times I was asked about, so when you fought Forrest Griffin, this and that, and I go, who? He goes, oh, Forrest Griffin. I said, well, I know who you're talking about. I said, I fought him. He goes, yeah, you don't remember? I go, what happened? He saw, unanimous decision. I go, no, I don't remember. He was young. He was young in his career. That's just all. It's just different. He was young in his career, and I hate to say this, but I was old in my career when I started. How many people start a cage fighting career prior to turning 37? I was just a couple months before me turning 37 is when I started. You look at most people would have retired, but it's when opportunity presented itself. And at the same token, I only ever planned on doing one event. I would have never thought at that time, hey, you asked me, do you think, 15 years later, would you still be doing this? I would say you're crazy, because it is definitely a younger man's sport, and you have to be keen on your senses. Otherwise, I'll just say that MMA is I always kiddingly say it's a physical chess match where checkmate hurts.
When did you realize that MMA could become your career, and this would be something that you'd be doing for a long period of time? When did you figure that out?
Well, I would never say that I figured out for it to be a career, because it's not. It's just something that I've been fortunate enough to survive in for a number of years. But it's not when I put all my eggs into that one basket, because that is something that I preach to all the young athletes that ever come in contact with this. Do not put all your eggs into one basket. Have other opportunities and things that you do, because the reality is when you step in that cage, you and your opponent have the exact same thoughts. Each of you are planning on winning. Someone's game plan is about to be upset, and they're going to have some career changes probably taking place. I've always had a number of things going on simultaneously, and that's why when I eventually leave at the end of 2012, I really won't probably miss a beat. I'll just continue right on and just have a little bit more time to put into other areas of interest.
Of the 3 UFC belts that you won, what's your favorite? The UFC 5 tournament belt, the Ultimate tournament belt, or the Super Fight belt?
The Ultimate belt. I feel like that was the true test of physical endurance, preparation. I guess better put that just so that the listeners understand that. The Ultimate is when they brought back champions and or runner-ups for an 8-man tournament. And it was at that time the biggest monetary prize money that they ever put out. And it was the first time that they actually had time limits being put into place, because they had some problems before where some of the events went longer than the allotted time for the pay-per-view, and there was one particular event that took place where it actually ran over, and a lot of people's their TV sets went off, so they did not see the end of a show, and they obviously they're mad, stuff like that, demanding their money back, want to know what had happened, all that kind of stuff kind of took place. So time limits were something that had to be put into place. But getting back to the Ultimate, the preparation I had to do. In one night, I was inside of the octagon cage just over 1 hour between my 3 opponents. And this was in Denver, Colorado, mile high elevation. So there was a point in time that my cardiovascular was just off the charts of what I had prepared for.
What's the best performance of your career? What's the best fight that you've had?
So let's go back to just that one element there, the Ultimate.
And is winning that tournament your proudest accomplishment? Because you've had a lot of great accolades. You've fought as long as you have. You've 100 wins, a UFC Hall of Famer. Is that the proudest accomplishment of your career?
I'd say for my not my entire career, no. I mean, but for my mixed martial arts career, I've actually I'm in a lot of ways I'm actually prouder of my amateur wrestling days than I am of my cage fighting career. It's and then some people may or may not understand that, but it's I started my amateur wrestling career in 1969. I've been training, traveling, and competing domestically since 72, internationally since 76. I've been to every country that has ever had a wrestling program, and some countries that do not exist anymore, such as there used to be in East Germany. I was there 3 different times to be behind the Berlin Wall, to see the Iron Curtain, and to realize they put a wall up and a fence up to keep people in, not to keep people out. It's a whole different mindset. Compete against some of the most vicious opponents of my life. I mean, I've been hurt far worse in my amateur wrestling career than I have been in all of my cage matches combined, and that's almost a contradiction in terms when you think about that. But competing wrestling, freestyle, Greco-Roman, which are your 2 international styles, in the United States is one thing, but when you compete in international, there's a whole different aspect. To be in Russia during the Cold War and compete against the best people in the world, simply to know that my accolades will be to step up on the top of that podium, to have my country's flag raised, and to play my country's national anthem. Oh, that to me was a much bigger rush than anything else I have ever done. That, if I'd have to say, if you want me to pinpoint, doing that stuff was a greater thrill, rush, achievement for myself than anything I've ever done.
You fought a who's who of fighters throughout your career: Hoist Gracie, Ken Shamrock, Tank Abbott, Mark Coleman, Pedro Hizzo, Forrest Griffin, Jeremy Horn, Chemo, Pat Miletich, Josh Barnett. I know I'm missing somebody, throughout the whole list, but who's the best guy that you've fought?
The political answer is any and all of them, because anyone that would sign that contract, people don't realize that the contract in the beginning, I ended up keeping a couple of them just so that I could actually prove it to people that would state made in black and white, in the event of your accidental death. I'm thinking, as long as I don't stick my finger in your eye socket and I don't bite you, there's a lot of different ways I think you can take another person's life without ever violating those two rules. And that was, I think, a lot of the controversy that surrounded it and the implementation of the various rules, the scrutiny that came from athletic commissioners and legislators and politicians, and that helped it to mold it to what it is today.
You've said that 2012 is going to be your last year in MMA, but maybe 2-3 years ago, was there ever a time where you're like, this is going to be my last year? Were there ever any thoughts before?
Well, no. There's actually it's been in the back of my mind for the last couple of years that I was looking for an exit. I was looking for a match to build towards, to give me that one last focal point to leave out on. I had contacted Hoist Gracie's camp. I have contacted Mark Coleman. I've contacted Ken Shamrock. Looking at any one of these threes could have been that match. And because I was looking for simply to walk away from it, that's tough for you. You talk to any professional athlete that has had a career. It is difficult to walk away or know when to walk away. As I said earlier, in my opinion, I was 10 years past my prime when I started my career. And that's where some people might be boggled by me saying something like that. If they really wanted to see a true animal, they should have seen me from 1984 to 1986. I ruled the world. It was mine. But that's not because I was looking to end. I had my focal point. That was the 1984 Olympic Games that take place right in Los Angeles. And I ended up becoming the alternate. So I had to sit there up and watch the gentleman ahead of me end up winning the gold medal, not giving up a single point. Everybody he went against, I had pinned in less than a minute. And it was hard for me to take. So literally the next couple of years after that, I'll say that it was due to dirty politics as to why I was not the actual Olympic representative. And that kind of really fueled me for the next couple of years. I ended a lot of guys' careers in the next couple of years because I'm taking it out of the hands of referees and people on the sidelines. I will finish my opponents within the guidelines of the rules of amateur wrestling. Maybe I've got some issues here that I have to see to, but that's what kind of fueled me on and continued me to go. Because as I said, I would have finished my athletic career back in '84. So to think I've gone that many years beyond, that's a lot of years.
You mentioned the three names: Gracie, Coleman, Shamrock. How confident are you that you'll get at least one of them to fight you?
I won't get any of them. I've come to the conclusion I will not get any of them, and I'm just going to settle with knowing that at the conclusion of 2012, I'm done. That is, I drew that line in the sand. I'm simply going to be done at the conclusion of 2012. I have a lot of other things I can go and do and put my time into, and the reality is I've been very, very fortunate that I have not been injured and hurt badly in this sport.
How have you been able to last so long? Is it because of your late start?
I don't know. I don't think that was a benefit whatsoever, Mike. Late start there. It's the reality is, as you get older, your timing your reactionary skills, everything's just slowing down. I mean, literally, I see it even in myself. You know, that's a hard. That's another hard thing for any athlete to comprehend. I know I'm not the same athlete I was 5 years ago, as I was 10 years ago, as I was 20 some years ago. That's just a reality of it. You know, Father Time slowly erode us away.
There's been some names thrown around of possible guys that you could fight. Bob Sapp, Mariusz Pudzianowski, Butterbean. Any interest in any of those guys?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I haven't really given any thought of that until now. You asked me a question. I mean, it's something I would probably ponder, but it's nothing that I thought about there, Mike. I guess I just have to leave it at that.
Will you continue to do pro wrestling, or will this be your retirement from any kind of sport?
No, I'm just going to be done doing my mixed martial arts. I still think that I will be involved in some form of competition. Maybe I'll go back and do some amateur wrestling. Maybe I'll go back and do some submission grappling. It's just hard to tell. I mean, I will always be engaging in some type of a physical activity throughout my entire life. It's, you know, the hardest part is that a lot of people, you know, they fall apart early in life because they don't do anything. You know, I end up going to like my 35th high school reunion, and I actually wish I had not gone. The one word that really kind of sums this up would be the word sad. It was really sad to see how far a lot of these people had fallen apart. And I literally, after only being in the room for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, I excused myself to go to the restroom, simply to look into the mirror to see, did I belong in that group? And I'm thinking, class of 76, I belong there, but at the same token, wow. Call it genetics, call it lifestyle, call it something else, but there were some people that, my father looked better on his deathbed than some of these people look standing.
In 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, when people look back and they bring up your name, what would you hope that they would say about your MMA career?
Well, I believe that Mike Chapman, he is a author of, probably 20 to 30 different books. In my opinion, probably one of the greatest amateur wrestling authors in the United States for all the different books that he's done. Was really closely associated with the Iowa wrestling team during their peak period when they ended up winning a decade long of NCAA titles. And he ended up writing a piece within the last few months, and he just talked about the duration of my career. I forget how he titled it, but I really like the way he presented the fact that the longevity, the durability, the accomplishment as amateur wrestler, freestyle wrestler, Greco-Roman wrestler, as a coach, as a professional wrestler, as a cage fighter, and the number of matches. I really like the piece that he put. I don't know what word he referred people as to see, but it was a phenomenal article that I think really kind of the pinnacle part of my career. And I guess just what this should remember is the fact that just a very durable athlete that just accomplished a lot in different areas.
Dan, thank you for being so generous with your time. Real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank, and is there anything you would like to say to the fans?
Just really no sponsors to talk about, but when it comes to if they want more to know, if they want to know more about what actually all I have going on, what I've either done in the past or what I continue to do, is simply by going to DanSevern.com, and they'll see all the various things that I'm about with. I'm actually very proud of the fact of having a degree from Arizona State, and what all good things that I do that have come out of the fighting element in the first place. You know, working with our military, working with law enforcement, working with corrections, I do a lot of things with kids, and even as so far as doing substitute teaching, because I actually have a teaching degree, and a lot of times I go in and do a substitution here or there. Probably the number one sub in my county, just for the fact that I get more out of them than what their own teachers get out of the students in the first place. I like to motivate people, and then literally, I think, you asked about my greatest thing to be remembered for. The number one email that I receive right now is, Mr. Severn, you have motivated me. And that's what I like hearing, that I motivate people. Even if I'm in a facility, I'm not this guy that's out here doing things, but they see that I don't look my age, nor do I act my age, and I'm a great motivator. When I say, even though I will end my MMA career at the end of 2012, I will still be engaged in the greatest competition ever, and that is the competition of life. Everybody wants to live longer. Everybody wants quality of life, but they will only ever get out of life what they put into it. And I plan on living life to the ultimate until it is no more.
Dan, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm welcome.